deal between Wike and Fubara. Yes, welcome to Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. My name is Michael Inyang. Welcome to the show. Right, the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, has declared that there is no sacrifice that is too big for the peace, stability, and progress of the state. That's Rivers State. Well, he was talking to his supporters in Rivers, in Port Harcourt, where Fubara reassured them that every step he has taken, including the recent reconciliation with his predecessor, the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike, was done with their collective interest in mind. The governor has acknowledged the anxiety and disappointment felt by many of his loyalists following the peace deal, but he has insisted that difficult times call for difficult decisions and concession. Difficult time calls for difficult decision and concession. He also hoped has also waned due to sheer frustration until June 27th on Thursday, when there were pictures of President Bola Tinubu beaming with smiles and sandwiched by equally excited Minister of the FCT. Right now, one person who is overexcited in Nigeria is I would say is the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike. Well, there were conditions that were alleged that were given to Fubara. We talked about, we'll look at the conditions, and then I will talk about how the River State received this peace deal. Well, joining us live all the way from River State is the chairman of a civil liberty organization in River State. We have another person then, Sonny Dada. Sonny Dada, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you for having me.
I know we also have one person also joining us live from River State who is an activist, he's a lawyer, and also he's a pan-Africanist. We have Comrade Chetam Thierry Nwala, Esquire. Comrade Chetam, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you once again for having me.
All right, comrades, let me begin with you on this conversation. Right now, the governor has said that difficult decisions, difficult times call for difficult decision. If the governor had known that, he wasn't ready for, he loved peace, like he has been saying, peace, 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 then why did he go into the fight at first? I come to Comrade Chetam.
There's something about some of these things, and I have an issue with politicians.
Okay.
Because they're all the same, even when they present themselves to tent. Truth be told, there is nothing about politicians. It's first in the interest of the people before their own interests. It is hard to find a politician these days that is selfless. Even when they present themselves to be selfless, they are not. They always put their interest ahead and all that. And I think Sim is that politician who pretends and wants us to believe that, oh, I'm not interested. I'm a good person. I'm a better person. But when you look deep down, it tells you that, see, this man is not different from every other person. And they have always held that particular view. In short, when the council started, some of us held the view and they see there is no difference between this man and his mentor. And that you can't take away the attitude of the mentor, of the mentee, completely. Because, truth be told, when you look at his modus operandi, while he held sway in River State, there was no difference. Now, he has presented himself, he needed there's no price too much to pay for peace. But he saw the whole thing from the beginning and decided to go into it. What was the essence of that starting a war when you knew that you were not going to finish the war?
That's the problem. That's something I'm critically looking at too. Why, if you know you so love peace, you're a man of peace, why starting what you can't finish?
Because some of us had held the opinion that this madness of godfatherism should not continue. This madness of one man trying to control the entire resources of Rivers State should not also continue, because we have had that, the president sadly the president is controlling Lagos State and its resources. And the minister of the FCT, there was a sense in which they had to align, and the president understood the challenges of the minister of the FCT. That was why he aided the minister of the FCT to making sure that the governor's hand was actually and twisted to the point it went actually. But unfortunately, the governor is not a man of strong will. It could not grant, because one of the sad part of this whole thing is the governor throwing his men under the bus. And, in short, from what we said, from what we heard, we've been hearing people say, oh, there has been different negotiations and all that between both parties. But the reality on ground now before us, there was never a negotiation.
Oh, really? With the governor and the people?
It was never a negotiation. It was an instruction handed down the governor by both the president and the city minister. So the governor is implementing an instruction handed down to him. Because if you look at it, they stopped him from running 2027. They gave him about 6 names of persons who work closely with him to abandon and not to work with them any longer. Also, he gave him some slots for commissioners to appoint. In short, they took virtually everything from him.
Was that
being a part of the such before he vacates as governor of the state, and nothing more pretentious. Exactly, nothing more pretentious, and it's a sad situation.
A very sad situation. Let me come to Mr. Sonny Dada. All of this right now in Rivers State. You were the chairman of a civil liberty organization. When this when this crisis started, we had conversations right here, and then we talked about this was the hands of the hand of godfatherism right here between Wike and Fubara. But the way the thing is turning out right now, there are so many talks. But let's first hear from you. How did the people of Rivers State receive that peace deal? How did they receive it? And your liberty organization, what the governor was fighting for is what is now happening again.
Okay, Michael, thank you for having me this morning, and I want to greet the Super FM family in Lagos. I'm also extending my greetings to my friend Barrister Nwala. To answer your question directly, for Rivers people, we're happy that peace is finally returning to the state. It was a big relief when we saw it over the weekend. And to us, anything that should bring peace in Rivers State, we're open to it. But however, we also need to interrogate the type of deal. What the governor said that there is no sacrifice that is too big for peace in Rivers State. The question is, what is the size of the sacrifice that has to be made? So that's the question we're asking, and that is why, as CLO, we have even refrained from issuing any statement until we are concretely sure of the terms of the deal. And unfortunately, none of the key gladiators or the key actors is telling us anything. Whatever we have heard is within the realms of rumor. Excuse me, we have heard things like the governor sacrificing the second-term ambition. We are not really interested in that. That's for them. They are politicians. And like Barrister Nwala said, some of us...
If you say you're not interested in that, is that not like setting a time bomb?
No. What I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is that some of us that spoke against the godfatherism concept in Rivers State spoke not necessarily because we were in love with Sim or because we wanted Sim. We knew that Sim cannot, remove himself from the apple strings of his godfather and even from the that structure, that Wike political structure, because he is part and parcel of it. He's still on the wanted list of EFCC till today. He was the one that aided and abated the massive corruption we saw under the FCT minister when the FCT minister was a governor. and that was why when the EFCC came after him as Accountant General of the state, the FCT minister did all he could to protect him, and that was even the reason why he was even considered, to take over from him. And we knew the processes that led to his emergence. We knew what happened. Some persons were sent to prison because of this same sin. Some persons were chased out of Rivers State because of this same sin. For instance, the PDP, the Atiku group could not even campaign in Rivers State, because of this same factor and everything. So we knew that at the end of the day, this man may not be different from his godfather, but we spoke out of principle. We spoke on the basis of the fact that we do not want godfatherism. We do not want a Lagos State in Rivers State. And these were the things, these were the motivations that made us to speak against it. So, and that is why we need to interrogate the size of the sacrifice that the governor is talking about. And that's why we are waiting, we are patiently waiting. But however, if none of the key actors is coming forward to tell us the details of the peace deal, then we're also weighing our options, the kind of actions that we'll take, And again, my key worry is that from all we have read, whether rumor or facts, none of the things we have seen so far adequately represent the interest of Rivers State. And that is why we challenge the governor to not just tell us that there's no sacrifice that is too big for peace. He needs to tell us the details of that sacrifice, so that we can interrogate whether the sacrifice is at the interest of Rivers State. And if it is for the interest of Rivers State, fine, we'll go with it. But if there are things that are anti-Rivers people, then that's another round of crisis. And that is why I'm worried that when I see the body language, of the both camps over the weekend, I see an illusion on their part, indicating that because they have gone into a certain immoral peace deal or whatever, that peace has automatically returned to the state. I disagree with them, because what has happened in Rivers State disrupted the peace architecture of the state. So it will take a much bigger effort than sitting with a godfather president in Aso Rock, with a battered governor to discuss with their lieutenants and discuss on behalf of Rivers State and think that peace has returned. It will take a much more greater effort than that, because you disrupted the peace process. New enemies have been created, new fresh camps have been created. There has been alignments and realignments. How do you resolve all of those things? Do you think it takes just one meeting or one piece of paper that some individuals that may not be more than 20 or 30 sat in the room and wrote down, and you think you can impose it on the people, or you want to force it down the throat of Rivers people? No, it is much more than that. So the next few months will tell, because right now there is still the negative peace we have in the state. The fact is even much higher than the way it was, even when the FCT governor was, when the FCT minister was governor of Rivers State. So the next few months will determine the next line of action and how far we'll go as Rivers people. But my summary of this whole thing is that the situation is very pregnant. The situation is pregnant.
And what do you think this is going to give birth to?
Because I don't know the kind of child it will give birth to, the kind of child that will emerge from that pregnancy. Thank you.
All right, thank you very, very much. Okay, let me come to Barrister Chetam right there. Former Rivers State Commissioner for Employment and Empowerment, Dr. Lenyonu Inwumbubasa, he has come out to say that he did not see this as a reconciliation. Rather, he sees it as a surrender. Do you agree with that? That this is not just there is more to this reconciliation? Barrister.
Sorry, I missed the point.
I said the former Rivers State Commissioner for Employment, Dr. Lenyonu Inwumbubasa, he has come out to say that this that is happening right now is more than a reconciliation. It is not even a reconciliation. That this is like a surrender. Do you agree with that? There is more to this reconciliation.
Like my friend that I had said earlier, you know what? In the whole thing that has happened, first of all, we must continue to emphasize on the point that the interests of Rivers State were not captured because first, Rivers people were not consulted during the said negotiations. That's one. Secondly, we must also remind ourselves that when you look at some of the terms that has come to the public for, and unfortunately, I must tell my friend something like that nobody's going to come out to tell us details of the agreement. You only just see implementation. Reason being that the last time they came up and told the public the details of the negotiations, there was public outcry. There was serious public outcry, and the whole thing broke down because they knew what they did very wrong. So this time around, I think they are a bit smarter, and they want a situation where they will keep out the details from the public, even if we have had a feelers of some of these details, which are completely anti-people. And if one would want to say that it wasn't actually a negotiation, like I said before, we just saw a situation where things were told the governor and handed down over to the governor, and he was asked to act X, Y, Z. And the governor, you see in his body language, is willing and ready to do whatever ever possible to act in accordance to what he has been told. So I don't think that anyone is wrong to say that this is a complete surrender. Of course, well, let's not forget that there is a complete total state capture going on in Nigeria today, headed by the president of this federation. And he's trying to push us into a one-party state by having the APC in all the states of the federation. And let's not forget that several governors have also moved, and the Rivers State governor has been hand-twisted. In the coming days, don't be surprised. The governor of Rivers State will also move to the APC. And if he doesn't move to the APC, you will see him practically working for the success of the APC. And Mr. President, that is what exactly will be happening. Because, one, his hands have been twisted. The president had suspended him in a situation where he had no powers to so suspend him. And it's not, for me, I'm not going to make any excuses for the governor because, trust me, he knew what he was getting himself into. And if he knew what he was getting himself into and got himself into it with clear eyes, and he said, play ball the way it went, he should be able to bear the ground that comes with it. And that's one of the things I keep saying, that you can't completely trust these politicians and their antics, because most times they present themselves to be people and they eventually become anti-people. You know, we keep saying that some persons was asking us at some point that, oh, but we showed some level of solidarity to the governor. And I said, see, the truth of the matter is our support was not born out of love, was not born out of whatever likeness, but because some of us were tired of the high-handedness of the FCT minister in Rivers State, where a man would want to control the entire affair of a state and make us look like Lagos State, where Lagos resources as big as Lagos State is controlled by just one man for the past how many years? So we don't want that situation in Rivers State. That is why you see that there's a level of resistance to even these fake peace they have proposed upon us or forced down the throat of Rivers State. It is sad that recently, everything that is done in Rivers State is being forced down the throat of Rivers people. Look at how Mr. President forced us into a state of emergency just because he wants his ambition, because of the 2027 ambition. And he wants to make sure that Rivers people and the governor himself supports him in 2027. But one thing the president forgets to understand is that Siminalayi Fubara does not call the shots here.
Who called the shots?
The people of Rivers State would always call their shots. The people of Rivers State would always call their shots. And for us, we will remind the president when the time comes.
Remind the president when the time comes. Well, both of you have pointed fingers on, at Lagos State that, Rivers State is not like Lagos State. Now, let me allow the Lagosians to be part of this conversation right here. Our Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. And don't forget, we're live on Facebook at Super FM Lagos. Yes, we're live on Facebook at Super FM Lagos. All right, call us on 0705 0705 6900 927 0705 6900 927. Or you can also call 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, please call the other line 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711. Or you can also call 0802 978 8003. 0802 978 8003. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Spotlight. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Ben.
Ben from Hiba.
Ben. Yes.
All right, Ben from Hiba, please make your point.
At this juncture, the governor Fubara should just resign. After they have reinstated him, he should resign. He should resign because I don't believe that Wike is the Fubara sent at all, because they know the program we are signing together, because they know what they believe. They know where they belong. For the sake of Rivers people, Fubara should resign, because this negotiation will not favor Rivers people at all. And this Mr. President and Wike, they will never give up. And this Fubara is not their stooge. They will always use him, because they know where they have gotten him, that he made him governor. That is what Wike is standing upon. Wike want to do what Tinubu is doing in Lagos. He will never give up. So Fubara should resign honorably. Let him get out of that office. So let his deputy take over. That is the best thing that can happen to Rivers people now. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, the phone number again is 0802 978 8003. 0802 978 8003. You can also send your message via WhatsApp on 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. Yes, all right. Let's listen to the voice of Fubara right here, the governor of the state, and also his predecessor. When we come back, we'll pick more calls, and then we'll go back to our guests. Let's listen to the governor in this.
If you want to be truthful to yourself, not lying to yourself, the only solution is peace. I didn't say that there is no price that is too big to pay for peace. I meant it, and I am still ready to follow it to the end. Nobody can take away the role my other played. That's the truth. Yeah, we have our differences that led to this, but nobody here will say he doesn't know the role the man played. Nobody will say he doesn't. Nobody can whisk away the risks he took. Yes, at the point we had our differences, and if today there is need for us to settle, please, anyone who genuinely believes in me should understand that it is right thing to do. Look at the projects that we initiated. Big road have been abandoned. Look at other things that we initiated. Without this crisis, by now I know where we have been. We know the progress we have recorded. We know areas that would have developed these things better than what it is today. So there is need for this peace. That is the truth. Like I said, it's heavy, it's bitter, but we must accept the situation and move on with it.
We must accept the situation above violence. There's an adage, Pet Edoche always say. Before I come to that adage, let's also listen to Wike also what he had to say on this.
God, the glory that today is the 26th of June 2025 that peace has finally returned to the state. All agreed to work together with the governor, and the governor also agreed to work together with all of us who are members of the same political family. Yes, just like humans, you have a disagreement, and then you also have a time to also settle your disagreement, and that has been finally concluded today, and we have come to report to Mr. President that is what we have agreed. So for me, everything is over, and enjoy everybody who believe to work with us, to also work together with everybody. That there's no more acrimony, there's nothing to say we are disagreeing. We have all agreed on everything. So we thank God. For me, it's a day we have to thank Almighty God.
For me, it's very important that this day has come to be. What we need for the progress of Rivers State is peace. And by the special grace of God this night, with the help of Mr. President and the agreement of the leaders of the states, including our leader, peace has returned in Rivers State. We'll do everything within our power to make sure that we sustain it this time around. Thank you.
How long can this peace be sustained? A very big question, right? Yeah. Will things get twisted when it comes to when he finally attain power? Will things get twisted? Well, we'll get to find out. We have a gentleman from River State who will definitely be doing justice to this conversation. Let's listen to Kenneth Okonkwo, one of the members of the Labour Party, who has talked tough in regards to this Wike and Fubara peace deal.
A chief executive of a state needs a minimum level of confidence to operate. If you make him to live on his knees, he will not achieve anything reasonable. I will not be such chief executive. That's why you should give me liberty or give me death. I don't need to tell you that if I'm a governor like that, if Tinubu declares state of emergency, I don't need to tell you that I will not leave that state house. They should either give me liberty or give me death. If I'm a chief executive officer and you want me to live on my knees, no, I will die one day. It's irresponsible to fear the inevitable. It's either we are doing the right thing or we are not. So this is what I'm saying. Fubara, they are simply outsmarting him. In the first so-called agreement, they outsmarted him. He did it at the cost of rule of law. He even naively went and withdrew his own statement of defense in court. Yet those people refused to withdraw their own case. And part of the agreement is that everybody would withdraw. You see? So the guy is just unfortunate. He's dealing with everybody in open mind and clean mind. And they are dealing with him with perverse mind, pretending they want to help him.
That's the voice of Kenneth Okonkwo, former spokesperson to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. Let me come to Barrister Chetam right there. Barrister Chetam, I'm sure you heard all of that, starting from Fubara, Wike, and down to Kenneth Okonkwo. Let me take your reaction. He has said a lot. Said irresponsible to fear the inevitable. You know, outsmarting him, and this is just being unfortunate. Also saying that, well, if it was him, he would not he would not have left the state's house. What's your take to this?
Well, it still boils down to what we've been talking about, to the same issues before us and all that. You know, a part of me, sometimes you want to feel pity for the governor. But on the other hand, we remember that he's a politician and that he knew what he was getting into, and that he was also a mentee of the FCT minister. You would decide not to be to feel that pity for him any longer, because trust me, politicians behave the same way and they act the same way. Now, truth be told, when you look at what has happened in Rivers State today, vis-a-vis all the statements they are making, The governor is talking about leaders of the state. Who are the leaders of the state? Who are the leaders of the state? The said persons who stood behind the FCT minister and himself during that press conference, are those the persons he referred as the leader of the state? And it's laughable. It's laughable. It just tells you that nobody cares about the people of Rivers State. Nobody cares about the opinion of Rivers people. They have stood within themselves. And, with the help of the president, on who will share what, who will get what of Rivers resources. Get to understand that this was the whole aim. Nothing more. Ask yourself, what led to the problems in Rivers State? What led to the Rivers resources? So you see a man so entitled to the point that he feels that Rivers resources belongs to him. That he has also had Rivers resources? Come on. How did we get to this point where one person will make into the entire Rivers State as his own estate? So it tells you the type of situation we have found ourselves. And we also have a president who believes in godfatherism and dictatorship. And the president is also modeling him up and assisting him to make sure that he achieves anything. Come on, for me, the start situation. Everything about the press conference, bringing peace to Rivers State and what peace? At the expense of Rivers people? At the expense of Rivers people? Come on. No, we should.